Once called the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean, Montserrat was paradise until fire and ash rewrote its destiny. Nearly 3 decades ago, after centuries of silence, the Soufrière Hills volcano violently awoke, reshaping Montserrat forever, burying the island's vibrant capital Plymouth under layers of ash. Throughout this adventure, I got to learn from local experts and interview legendary filmmaker David Lea. With their knowledge, I set out on an unforgettable 3-part documentary series into Montserrat and its exclusion zone. Together, we'll explore ruins beneath volcanic ash, uncover the stories of lives forever changed, and experience a place where humanity stomped and nature took over. This is Montserrat, an island where its citizens live boldly in the shadow of a volcano. My journey begins by stepping onto one of the smallest planes I've ever been on. Are we the only people going there right now?
Yeah, it's only 7-seater maximum.
You've done it 20 times.
But you have nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm glad we're going with you.
Your guardian angel.
Honestly, I couldn't help but feel a bit anxious as I prepared to board, but excitement quickly took over, knowing this tiny aircraft was about to carry me to Montserrat, a volcanic island with a story unlike any other. Nestled within the Lesser Antilles, a chain of islands sculpted by powerful geological forces, lies the small Caribbean paradise known as Montserrat. Born from the restless dance of the South America tectonic plate sliding beneath the Caribbean plate, Montserrat is one of several volcanic islands rising dramatically from the sea, spanning a humble yet vibrant 100 kilometers. The island reveals itself in striking contrast. Its lush, verdant southern end, nourished by rich volcanic soil, beneath the shadow of the imposing Soufrière Hills volcano, stands distinctly apart from the drier, more rugged terrain of the north. The story of Montserrat stretches back millennia, whispered through archaeological discoveries that reveal a human presence as early as 5,000 years ago. Around 2,500 years ago, settlers likely journeyed from present-day Venezuela, bringing with them knowledge of farming, fishing, pottery making, and a rich tradition of trade that connected Montserrat to neighboring islands. These first islanders named their home Aliraguana, meaning land of the prickly bush, marking it forever with their cultural imprint. Centuries passed quietly until in 1493, Christopher Columbus sailed by, captivated by the island's rugged peaks reminiscent of Montserrat Mountains in Spain, bestowing upon it its current name. By 1632, the English had firmly planted their flag, establishing settlements populated primarily by Irish indentured servants who worked the fields of tobacco and indigo. During this era, brief interactions occurred between European settlers and indigenous Caribbean inhabitants, though mysteriously by the early 1700s, the original islanders vanished from historical accounts. The island's destiny shifted dramatically, with the rise of sugar plantations cleared the way for sugar fields, radically transforming Montserrat's lush landscape. African slaves were forcibly brought to cultivate these plantations, quickly becoming the overwhelming majority of the island's inhabitants. With the British abolition of slavery beginning in the 1830s, Montserrat faced economic upheaval. Many plantation owners left, leaving the island economically fragile, burned by debt, disease, and repeated natural disasters. But resilience prevailed. After several faltering attempts, Montserrat, its economy blossomed anew. In the mid-19th century, with the booming of lime industry, limes transformed into perfumes, soaps, and luxury goods, found eager markets from London to Shanghai, earning Montserrat the affectionate nickname Emerald Isle of the Caribbean. Throughout the 20th century, Montserrat became a haven for tourists, By summer of 1995, Montserrat was poised to celebrate a revival following the devastating impact of Hurricane Hugo just 6 years earlier. Shiny new buildings, including a state-of-the-art hospital and government headquarters, signaled hope and progress, especially concentrated in the lush southern end, unsuspecting of the looming volcanic awakening that would soon alter its fate.
I can't believe that experience. You guys live here?
Yes.
Wow. That's a special way to get home. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
He's the master. If you guys want to come to Montserrat, get this guy.
After making my way through immigration, I was warmly greeted by our host, who picked us up and guided us towards our accommodation.
Your name is Clover?
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Clover.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
As we drove, our host shared captivating stories about herself and her husband, who notably was the only person to document Montserrat's devastating volcanic eruptions firsthand throughout the years. It all began with a scent in the air. On a warm July day in 1995, the air across southern Montserrat tinged with the scent of sulfur. Whispers of unease spread. The mountain had awakened. Plumes of ash and steam began rising from the volcano's summit. Over 1,000 people packed their lives into bags and left. Emergency shelters sprang up in the north. Scientists and journalists arrived by the dozens. A makeshift observatory was set up, and eyes were now fixed on the heart of the island. As August arrived, swarms of tremors riled the land beneath the volcano.
Well, initially there were phreatic eruptions. Phreatic eruptions are cold eruptions. They blow up in the air. You get a big black cloud. It'll come down with the direction of the wind. It would come over Plymouth and black it out. I mean, you could not see your hand in front of you.
That was a sign.
Those were cold. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got injured, but the town got black on a number of occasions.
Wow.
And after one of those, there was a procession of cars coming out of town when that happened. And after one of those, they evacuated everybody. They said, just take your toothbrush, change your clothes, gonna put you up in the tents or in the church or in the school, and we'll get you back in a couple of days. And in a few days, things would quiet down and they'd move back in. And then this happened twice.
On August 21st, a thunderous blast sent a towering cloud of ash into the atmosphere. By September's end, a dome of hardened lava began to grow like a blister on the mountain's skin. On the first day of December, the capital city, Plymouth, was ordered to evacuate, and a curfew was imposed. The next day, a chunk of the lava dome gave way. Then came the first pyroclastic flow, a suffocating surge of scalding gas, ash, and pulverized rock hurling downhill faster than a speeding car, nearly silent, almost invisible until it was too late. These flows can reach temperatures over 1,000 degrees Celsius, and they don't just burn, they erase everything in their path.
The third time, April 3rd of 97, they did the same thing, but you never went back.
What followed was not a single eruption, but years of fury, each time triggering deadlier pyroclastic flows that raced down its flanks, flattening forests, boiling the sea. Villages were swallowed whole. The evacuation zone stretched wider and wider. Tens of thousands were forced northward, crammed into smaller and more desperate corners of the island.
So all that stuff's over there. Everybody's TVs and their photos on the wall and the fridge and all this stuff is still there.
Crazy.
Because nobody's ever really gotten to go back over there and try to retrieve any of it. If you look at Town Hill over town, looking up over Plymouth, that was the ritzy. You know, the lawyers, the doctors, the professional people lived up there and had these old beautiful colonial houses. The governor's house was up there. It's dilapidated now, but it was a gorgeous, beautiful, with balconies all the way around. It was beautiful, and all the gatherings and parties.
When you had to evacuate, how upset were you? Because you were losing your stores there. You had a bookstore and some things like that as well.
Yeah, we took everything out of the shops. I mean, we've always lived on this property from 1980. When we left, we didn't have to leave. We didn't have to evacuate ourselves. People came here and lived with us. We put up some people because everybody wanted out of town. And we had some good friends that had to evacuate, so they stayed with us until they got either to England or their own place. But we never had to evacuate, but the store, we just emptied the books and everything that we had in there, and the church and the music equipment and all that. Sound system, everything, we brought it out. Yeah. And we still have some of that. It's pretty antiquated now, but it still works.
Then came June 25th, 1997. A flow tore down the mountainside, consuming 9 villages and cutting off the main road. 22 lives were lost, mostly farmers who hadn't yet abandoned the fertile lower slopes. 90 others were pulled from the darkness, some burned beyond recognition. 6 months later, on December 26th, the volcano unleashed its most violent eruption yet. A massive collapse of the lava dome triggered a lateral blast, a sideways explosion that tore open the mountain. A tsunami then followed. The southern half of Montserrat would never be the same again.
So I'm racing out the main road, and from the first, what they call accretionary lapilli, which is little balls of ash, and they would fall and hit the windshield, and I started using the wiper, and in 52 seconds it was pitch black.
52 seconds?
Yeah, I mean pitch black and hot. And lightning everywhere. It wasn't lightning coming from down, it was lightning going over everything, because the particles in the eruption are charged positively and negatively, and they interact, and it gets this lightning that just ricochets off of everything.
Whoa, okay.
That's in here.
Dang.
That footage is in The Price of Paradise.
And what is this?
This is the whole story of the eruption, the compilation of the 9 videos.
Whoa.
Into one.
That tiny thing, huh?
Well, and this is also, it's a USB-C and a USB.
It's really nice.
So you can put it in either one on your laptop. And you'll hear the whole story. I mean, it's got the best of 400 hours of stuff. So it's really...
How much is that? I might have to buy one.
These are 50 EC or 20 US.
A special thank you to David Lea for allowing me to use some of his incredible archival footage. If you want to see more of his firsthand work documenting the eruption, I highly recommend checking out his new book, Through My Lens, and his powerful documentary, The Price of Paradise. Both offer a raw personal look at Montserrat's volcanic history, and you can find the links in the description below. We made our way to Montserrat's volcano observatory, where I was scheduled an interview with Professor Ryan to get a better understanding of volcanoes.
Is very well studied, so we have scientists from all over the world that come and collaborate, looking at different aspects.
He explained to us how eruptions form and how from the ashes, columns and pyroclasmic flows form lightning shooting through the eruption's cloud.
Then you start to get the eruption column lightning.
Even with all this science, he told us the initial eruption still caught most people off guard. There was a real disconnect between research and public awareness back then.
Scientifically, it was actually well understood that this is a live volcano and that it could erupt again. Like the awareness of the population and government policy, it was kind of like a mismatch between.
Inside the observatory, it honestly felt like a sci-fi video game.
You guys have a nice office. I would love to just chill here. Oh man.
I couldn't believe before digital systems, they tracked it all on these giant rolls of paper.
Jeez, this seems a lot better for storing data, for sure.
Yes.
That's the old seismograph.
From 1995 to I think 2000 and maybe 5 or something. Still, we have them all stored.
The screens showed real-time heat readings, and we got to see their most sensitive seismometer, the one closest to the volcano. It picks up even the tiniest quakes. And we met Venus, the seismic technician. Her job is to decode every little tremor to figure out whether it's gas, magma, tectonic pressure, or just rock falls.
These two are local earthquakes now. These are VT earthquakes.
So these are volcanic tectonics.
If something dangerous is about to happen, she's the one who sounds the alarm.
Venus is our guardian angel then.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping it safe.
They've got a whole emergency protocol ready to go. If readings spike, they alert the police, Sirens go off and everyone evacuates. It's serious business. At this point, I was very curious about the untouched parts of Plymouth and the state of it.
So that's all Zone V. To go anywhere in there, you'd have to get special permission. So you have to go to the DMCA and say, oh, I'd like to do that. And they'll probably tell you no. Most of our access in Zone V is by helicopter.
Right.
So, helicopter into various sites and do what we have to do. Some measurements need to be taken from the helicopter, such as the gas flux.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're very lucky. Venus doesn't usually talk to people.
I like Venus. She's funny. She was great.
Yeah, we're cool.
We're great.
We're cool, yeah?
Now let me summarize this. We had just heard the full story from David Lea and his experience with the eruptions, the destruction, and the science behind Montserrat's restless volcano from Dr. Ryan. Now it was time to step closer to where it all happened, the exclusion zone, a tightly guarded, nearly impossible to access piece of land. But with the help of our guide, we were granted rare permission to explore a small slice of the forbidden landscape.
I'm a starving musician.
All right, we
Very
like
good
that.
at that.
Yep.
Now, of course, I consider myself somewhat of an ambassador, I suppose, to the island.
Here's Sonny, David's son. Today, we're venturing into the heart of the island's most restricted and mysterious territory. What used to be a thriving neighborhood is now buried beneath ash and silence. Yet from the destruction comes industry. At the bottom of this valley, volcanic materials collected, sand, stone, aggregated. It's the island's one industry born directly from the volcano's wrath. With special permission and an escort from the volcano observatory, we passed the checkpoint.
This girl works for the government and she's here to just log us in and log us out, just making sure we go in safe and come out safe. Oh, we got a walkie-talkie too. She just gave him. That's why we had to close the windows, because of all the trucks that drive by here.
The government ensures every vehicle going to the zone is tracked. We're handed a walkie-talkie, our only line of communication should anything go wrong.
Vehicle Romeo 3708, 3 souls.
Okay, go ahead and you're standing by.
Thanks much. Sierra Lima standing by.
I couldn't believe how we passed the checkpoint. Reassured by our guide that the Soufrière Hills volcano was quiet today, but never to be underestimated.
So, you saw the sign. We're basically at the exclusion zone. We're driving through this road that leads straight to Plymouth. This is an unreal experience, guys. Something that no one can really do.
We're about to pass this building, the post office, but you're not going to see it. It's on our left. We can walk up a little bit here and get a view within reason, but then we're going to go to a more exposed area.
So this was the post office, and it was right here.
That building there is this building.
That is insane.
So all these buildings were right here, guys, and now they're just beneath us. We're gonna be walking on top of them, literally.
It's strange, standing in the middle of a ghost town, where the ground beneath your feet used to be the heart of a capital city. Sonny explained that before then, no one even realized the island was part of an active volcanic system. They thought the volcano was somewhere else, and they were wrong. That dome grew, collapsed, regrew multiple times, and when it finally blew, it wiped Plymouth off the map.
It's the entirety of Montserrat is all volcanic, but we had no understanding that basically there was a mountain that would grow right above our heads.
Some of the buildings are still intact, but they're under 10 to 15 feet of hardened ash.
I know, I heard that song.
So this was a 4-story building, and look at it, it's half gone.
Oh, dude, you can see it,
It's
bro.
now
underneath.
a 2-story building. Pretty much this was a whole plaza, guys, of just stores and apartments. People would come down here and shop. So this is the library. They actually made this after right after Hurricane Hugo. That's so sad. Imagine just starting a business and all of a sudden a disaster happens.
This used to be one of the main roads in the city. Now it's just ash. No signs, no pavement, nothing that tells you a town was ever here. Until I really started to look.
So guys, right here is called the Flora Fountain Hotel. And there's a reason behind that, because they had a beautiful fountain right in the center of this place. It was incredible to see. This used to be like a 3-story hotel, but there is a little room up there, so you can count it as a 4-story building. Must have been super nice to come here. Now look at it. And down below was actually the restaurant. Right next to the hotel, you had the gas station. Now you can't even see it. It's buried underground. But this was probably one of the main gas stations here where everyone would come and fill their gas.
I started to make my way around the property, peering through the windows of each building. As much as I wanted to explore inside, my guide made it clear it was off limits. The structures were simply too unstable, too risky to enter.
Was the grocery store. Look how much sand is in here. Look at that, there's the cart. This little window over here can give you a peek of the office of the supermarket. So right there you can see the effects of the acid rain on the rebar. What the heck? Acid rain. I would not want to be walking through that. I guess acid rain happens during an eruption.
It's working.
What's that noise?
It's a test of the siren system.
It turned out to be a false alarm. Apparently, they sound this every day just to make sure it's still working.
Nothing serious. There's literally trees growing on the roofs of these buildings now. Looks like another office. You can see all the paperwork just in the cabinets and drawers still. You can get like a plant tattoo.
Yeah, see, I'm not that much dark skin, so
yeah,
it
that
doesn't
kind of
pop
blends into your arm.
Come on, that's still, I can still see it. Yeah,
Pretty
it
good.
pops though.
All right, you want to abuse your friend, or you want me to?
No, you do it.
Okay. A little bit of abuse
Not
right there.
bad. Whoa, that's a good one.
Dang.
That is bright.
We're a tribe now.
Yep.
Yep.
Brothers.
Yep.
We got matching tattoos.
Look at that.
From a plant. That's pretty cool.
I didn't tell you in about 2 hours a tree's gonna grow out of there.
Yeah.
No! You know, these concrete buildings really remind me of the ones in Japan, like Battleship Island. And that's a pretty cool looking stairway. Looks like there was maybe a window right there. Look at that.
Flying and don't drink and drive, man.
Yeah.
Does that have alcohol in it?
Oh yeah, tons. No, I'm kidding.
No, there's nothing.
All
I'm
right.
gonna get you. I'll get you one, Steve.
Yes, please. That looks delicious. This drink is so good. Ting.
Damn, bro.
You like it too?
Yeah. Wow. All right.
At least from the outside.
Looks ancient. Something straight out of Zelda. So this church has been renovated over the years. This front side that you're seeing right now was built in 1930, and you can even see the date right there. But behind it was from like the 1660s, which is pretty crazy. Now we're not allowed to walk behind it. Right next to the church is a gravestone. So right next to the church is a little graveyard over here. You can see some of the gravestones still. There's one there. Just sad to see that this is just forgotten. You can't really even see it anymore. Yeah, you can't pay your respects or anything. You can see a little bit of the person's name written on there. But also I can see like a big tombstone somewhere back there. And sadly, a lot of the volcanic ashes have been building up and just completely burning them. I'm sure there's even more tombstones around here, maybe hundreds. Look at that. So I guess acid rain happened here and it got rid of the paint from that bell and the paint started just dripping onto the building.
Exiting the zone, all souls accounted for.
So you just saw that. We literally had to report that we made it out alive out of there. So we're now heading back to, what's it called?
Maybe Richmond or something?
Yeah, so we're now heading back to Richmond Hills just to get extra material and drone shots.
The area, beautiful landscapes, beautiful homes, quick access to Plymouth.
Yeah.
And Richmond Hill was a very beautiful place to live in. And you might have heard that some people called it Rich Man Hill. Rich Man Hill.
Rich man, I get it.
Yeah. But of course, not everyone was rich here, but it was, a little posh here and there, and some affluence, of course. Yeah.
Nice. And you said there's like a huge hotel here or something?
Montserrat Springs Hotel was one of 2 premium hotels on the island.
Okay.
And this one has a pretty good view from its pool deck. And the gift shop.
Oh, you can see
Wow.
it.
Earlier, we weren't allowed to enter any of the buildings, but thankfully, that changed. There was one part of the area, an abandoned hotel, where we were given permission to explore inside.
And that was near their tennis courts, that little bar down by the beach area. Sometimes we bring people back that have, of course, utilized the hotel in those days, and it's a bit sad for them.
I bet.
But it was quite a place.
So this picture is from the entrance we just drove through when we saw the sign. Montserrat Springs. We're literally walking down the steps where people would once check into. Oh my gosh, just look at the ground levels. The front desk is still standing. I think this was like where the receipt would be printing out of. And look at that. Food menu right here from the restaurant they had. But the pages have been taken out. And you come up here. Looks like this could have been just a hallway. So everything we're stepping on is not dirt. This is the asphalt.
Came from the mountain.
Yep, it came from the mountain. Made its way inside here, which is pretty crazy. And we're now walking towards the dining room. Dang, so this is where people would come and eat. Bet it was beautiful back in the day. They probably had some windows overlooking a nice view right there. Sadly, a lot of stuff here fell apart already. So they had the buffet right here, and over there in the corner was the bar. Wow, so this was the same,
Teeth mark right there.
yeah, this was like the same angle of this shot. You can even see, yep, where the thing could have been. Oh my gosh, dude, that's wild. There's the building. You can still see like those beams right here. And then I guess the second photo was this pool, and it's right around this corner because the hotel will be literally in front of us right now. Just imagine swimming by the pool and having this view. Like, come on. No wonder why this is known as one of the best hotels here. Whoa, this is incredible. And those buildings in front of us, they're all abandoned. And we can see Plymouth down there. Now right up these steps are the guest rooms or the accommodations where people would stay. It's kind of dark. These are some really nice guest rooms. I mean, you had a huge room immediately when you would walk in. Here's the bathroom. Right next to it was a little balcony. Now you just have a view of the overgrown trees. I guess you can just, easily just attach these two rooms if you had a big family to book. And basically the same thing, they're identical, just opposite. Bathroom's right there, and it also comes with a balcony. So I took a look at all the rooms, and they're all the same. This one caught my attention. People have been writing stuff with the asphalt here in this room. Let's see if we can read the message. It says, then we have Slidina and Shame. Could be names of the people that wrote this. This room still has the lamps. And it also has the AC unit. The door just slammed because of the wind. That scared the hell out of me. I think it's gonna do it again. It's just the wind. But man, you can mistake that for a ghost. Yep. Alright, so I'm gonna check out the bottom floor. These guys said that it kind of looks similar to the floor upstairs that we just did, but the asphalt is down here, and you kind of have to watch your head now because I had to turn up the ISO a lot on my camera because it's really dark and it's doing a pretty good job. Wow. Guess we'll take a look at this room. This has been affected by the asphalt. It's just covered with it. There's a fucking huge wasp nest inside this closet. I'm so glad I'm here exploring in the winter.
It's like, this looked like, it was white and some of it was pinkish. Oh no. Oh no, yeah, fucking red.
Wow, look at the view though.
Holy crap, bro.
This is actually really nice. I like how tall everything is. Look, you had people writing their names on here, on the dusty sliding door. And look at this balcony, it's massive. Here's the kitchen. Still have a tea kettle. Here's what's left of the fridge. I like the layout of this place a lot. It almost feels like a loft. Here's one of the bedrooms. Thought this was a bone for a second.
It doesn't work like it did, huh? Back then.
Now you need something good.
Maybe you gotta lick your hand first, bro.
Actually.
Probably.
Well, it's too hard.
As the day came to a close, we headed north into the heart of Montserrat's rebirth. It's where people rebuilt, where hope took root amid the shadow of the disaster.
And this whole area is quite the spot. Not prime property originally, but it's what was available for the government to use. And the European Union put a little money into it as well. It's a fantastic view at the end of this road.
I was gonna fly my drone, but look at that helicopter right there. Alright guys, so I just made it here at like the northern eastern part of Montserrat, and this is an area called the Lookout. Before, you know, as we were driving, there was a lot of houses and homes. It's become a new residential area. Before, it was never like that. There was just trees and just no humans at all. But right after the whole disaster happened, when Plymouth got buried, you know, people lost their homes, their lives, their livelihood. And it's pretty nice. We drove down the street. There's a lot of colorful houses. There's a big community here. I think a lot of these buildings are like the most up-to-date buildings here in Montserrat. And I think they call this the Lookout because you have an amazing view right here of the ocean.
Yeah, where the steam is, right?
Right.
I can barely see that.
And that entire mountain we're trying to look at on the right did not exist.
Wow. So that was just formed?
Formed, yeah.
And it's still steaming, so it's still...
This side would be considered a little more dangerous, I think.
Yeah, and this is where the airport used to be? You said it was like right there?
Actually, if you... It's very hard to see, but kind of in this V, you see this little bush V there. And the terminal building, the control tower, all that's buried. And pretty much all the gray beyond that point to the sea is all new land, completely covered. But between that area and Plymouth were areas of agriculture and farming on the other side of this ridge. You can understand how something like this could happen because to provide for your family, you know, go to the agriculture was part of their livelihood. And of course, you could see why people would continue doing this, waiting for weeks to happen, for something to happen that hadn't happened yet. And it just kind of caught up with them.
Okay.
But, you know, a lot of people didn't realize how dangerous a volcano was until this event, losing lives, and then people took it a little more seriously after that.
Nice to meet you, Sonny.
Absolutely.
Maybe I can get your contact too, and just in case I have any questions.
Sure, definitely.
I'm sure Josh can just give it to me.
Yeah, I'll forward you his
WhatsApp.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, awesome. All right, let me grab my things and I'll be going.
Absolutely. Is that Starlink?
That is Starlink.
That's
Yeah.
okay, cool.
All right. Thanks, Sonny.
Awesome. We'll catch up later.
Yep.
All right. I'll see you around.
Yeah. I'll see you around, Sonny. Thanks so much. So I just got back to my accommodation. Sonny dropped us off. What an incredible day. I learned so much about Montserrat, and I'm so glad that Sonny got to show us around because it gives me a better idea of what to do now and where to go to, because within these next 7 days I have a lot more to see. Although I'm going to be focused more on exploring some abandoned places here, I'm also wanting to check out some of the local spots that he recommended. And yeah, can't imagine coming here without having that knowledge. It probably would have sucked. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video here, guys. So thank you so much for watching and making it to the very end. I hope this was very educational and you got to learn something, and I hope it entertained you guys as well. There's gonna be more to come on this series, so subscribe and make sure the notification button bells are on to be notified of these upcoming drops. But all right, I love y'all. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see y'all on the next adventure. Peace and thanks for watching.